All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for that epic matchup coming down to the wire here between TSM and SSG. Both of these teams needing this matchup to try and once again stay towards the top of the ratings, to be in the top 4 in order to qualify for the major coming up in Mexico City. Stokes is here with me once again on the cast. Stokes, how excited are you to jump into this one?
You know, I'm so very excited, my friend. TSM and SSG, this is a tale as old as time inside of North America. And to get it once again with some newfound blood in the likes of SSG and some recent storylines happening with them as well, I'm ecstatic to see what's going to happen between these two.
Very much the case. This has been two titans that have been slowly drifting towards each other as of the past couple of weeks. Now we finally get to see that matchup. So much promise behind both of these teams. So many positive things to talk about. Let's start out with SSG, as they have both the same exact record as TSM coming into this, but the big story right now is the addition of HotanCold to this roster coming into Stage 2. He's not only reignited the kind of strategic soul of this team compared to what we were seeing back in Stage 1, but he's kicking some serious butt over the stage as well. He's topped out the scoreboard in 2 separate games versus both OXG and DZ.
Yeah, such an amazing player, and it's such a weird thing because just like a slight fall from grace, happening for him as he gets removed from Dark Zero, have some new players come in place of him, and then obviously, what happened in the future, moving on. Apologies, folks, having some issues with production, but either way, now I can hear myself think. Moving away from Dark Zero and actually transitioning over to Mirage, not a lot of people knew what was going to happen with HotanCold. And, finding that success with Mirage and showing he's more than just the hard breach. He's more than just another player of Dark Zero. He's the standalone guy that can make or break a roster. He comes on over to SSG and to fill some very, very large shoes, but I think of everyone that could possibly do it inside of North America, it has got to be HotanCold. And it's amazing to see him find success with this SSG roster so far.
Meanwhile, over on the other side of the table, we've been seeing TSM truly pop off over the past couple of weeks. 2 7-0 victories in a row, but has turned a little sour as of late with a recent loss on Coastline. I think the analyst desk touched on this, though. Very important to note that, at least for me, that loss showed up, and it was incredibly close, once again, for the record. TSM still playing their hearts out and playing incredibly well in that matchup, but only losing it by a single round because, to be fair, Mirage brought an incredibly prominent performance in that matchup themselves. Truly a deserved win, and I'm not sure if it's an indication of a downtrend as of yet for TSM. This match is going to be a very good indicator of that, but you guys can help us indicate in our community poll between these two players. Bolo doesn't lose polls, but this stage, Bosco doesn't seem to lose fights. Which one are you guys at home going to be picking between Bosco and Bolo? Go ahead and let us know over on either the Twitch chat, our Twitter account, our new Instagram. Throw it at us, and we'll have the results a little bit later on during the show with Veli and see if you guys were right, more importantly.
For a split second, I thought you called him Bugle, and I was like, those are some pretty good chips, but I don't,
we don't really say the E in his name, so.
Yeah, you got to skip it. It's silent. It's silent. It's how it works. Silent but deadly is Bolo, but that's probably a lie as we see him go more loud and proud than, anybody else. So besides that, TSM, SSG, it starts right now, folks. Chalet on the docket once again for the day for the second time. And, well, it starts off with the bands. SSG with the outsides and TSM with the end.
Go ahead and take a quick peek at what exactly we're going to be looking at here. We haven't seen a huge amount of variance just as of yet, but they're always in for a surprise as well. They can kind of get thrown at us quite randomly there. So we'll see what exactly it's going to be. SSG getting the first ban knocked out of the way, and they're going to choose to remove. Let's see here. Jackal once again. So far following the trend from our last matchup exactly.
All right, so Jackal removed. Can't honestly blame anyone when it comes down to the info game, trying to keep people on roam and find some impact through that. Jackal's definitely going to be able to assist with that clear. We've seen a lot of teams going with some other info operators besides that, though, most notably Yana and Lion being played quite often here on Chalet. The Ying band coming in, taking away a lot of that utility dump, as well as a very, very difficult operator to deal with when it comes down to the execute. Past that, Mira going to get banned out. This is a regular thing that we're seeing from a lot of these teams now on Chalet, and Wamai going to be our final ban, which falls under the same umbrella.
Being one probably going to be the most interesting one to call out there. We didn't really see her use the very last matchup, which was also played on this same map, but that ties more into the fact of those two teams wanting to play away from her. There was quite a bit of tape, more so for TSM from what I can remember off the top of my head when compared to SSG, but either way, no reason to believe SSG wouldn't bring it to the table on their own attack, so they're going to choose to knock her out here, as she can be incredibly useful, especially for the bar attacks at just trying to overwhelm opponents that have a very stable defensive setup in a late round situation.
Yeah, you know, it just feels like one of those things where it's a possible change up at the last second to try and throw things off. We do have some plays from both of these squads, and it seems like it actually works out pretty well for them. Not so much for TSM, but definitely for SSG. They've only played her 22% of the time when she's available, which equates to 5 rounds. But inside of those 5 rounds, John, 80% success rate. So, I mean,
and honestly,
that's pretty high.
For Ying, 22% is pretty high in my opinion. So.
Yeah, yes, it's quite high. But, you know, across from that, there is actually some very interesting things going on between these two teams, especially in the statistics department, because as we were talking about with Chalet earlier, I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record for you guys watching this throughout the day, but this map is usually offensive-sided. Now, the crazy thing for these two rosters is, in fact, both of them are actually better on the defensive side, both having a win rate of over 60%.
All right, well, let's see if TSM will be able to carry through with that 60% win rate and try to pick up that 4-2 or 3-3 half for themselves, or will SSG give us a surprise of their own and soar on the defensive half? All that, a lot more is going to be figured out over these next few rounds. We've already got TSM out and about. Chalet going across the map right now, trying to figure out where exactly the best placement for all these Argus cams is going to be. Chalet being the kind of rock of consistency here in recent times on TSM, despite not playing into a frag-heavy role usually. In last week's matchup, he was still the most prominent player, despite it being the first match that went unfortunately towards a loss for TSM after quite some time.
All right, well, about 40 seconds in here, and the slow beginnings for both of these squads as they're simply biding by and seeing what they can possibly do. But HotanCold with a fantastic nitro cell out the Solarium windows takes Pojo down to a single shot, and Merc just a little bit above 25. So both of them going to have to hold on for dear life throughout the rest of this round. Difficult straights now for them, but either way, TSM are doing a very good job of clearing out the entirety of the map currently, working their way up Solarium with this setup. And speaking of setups, this is lineup across the board looking a hell of a lot different from what we've been seeing from earlier in the day, and honestly it's looking a little bit more potent in certain areas, especially when it comes to utility clearing with the likes of Flores and IQ. This could make Pojo's life a little bit easier on this hard breach, as he's brought the thermite as well.
No, folks, your headphones are not functioning incorrectly, by the way. We'll get that audio glitch fixed as soon as we get out of this round. Unfortunately, not much we can do about it inside of the round itself, but either way, still need to see this last minute and 20 seconds unfold here. As we're coming down to it, though, still not a whole lot going down. TSM has taken quite a bit of damage on both Merc and Pojoman. Hey, there we go. Looks like we got it fixed, actually, that time. So, never mind. We can fix it in the round. I thought we had to
It's just part of the lore. Don't worry. It's just part of the lore. You know, when Mute's in the field, he does something, this exact thing, and Easter eggs happen.
Mute's not happy about our casting right now, so. But either way, things get started for TSM correctly as they're able to land a nice nade opening frag against Rampy, taking him down. Bolo gonna move in here with the explosive drone, try to see if he can get anything done with it, and he is able to get it in position next to Foltz's deployable shield, so that will be going bye-bye. Foltz will more than likely have to fall back into a different position. Now, problems for TSM. Oh my goodness, Foltz. Wait, and he didn't get spotted as well by Bolo, so Foltz is able to get that kill. What a madman of a play from Foltz, but that's a very much needed one to bring us back down to a 4v4. Hotan nearly does another one over towards Achieve, but instead Pojoman is going to recenter it for TSM as he gets a second kill inside of this round.
I had to pick my jaw up off the floor there for just a second. I could not believe what was happening in front of my eyes, but this is looking to be a pretty heated end to round one. 15 seconds remain as SSG is trying desperately to hold on to the bomb site. They'll take down Chalet from above as TSM simply spin around the hatches, trying to find a way in. They'll work their way out towards the bar door, but that won't work either. They try and drop HotanCold all across the map, and like I've said before, always hot, never cold. It's a 4K for HotanCold in this round. What a player and what a play.
Goes without saying. I don't even think I need to add anything else there. Beautiful stuff from Hotan coming into that round and being the hero immediately from round 1 there. And that's after some crazy stuff we saw from Volts there that you guys caught on the replay real quick as well. Definitely a entertaining start to this matchup at a minimum for SSG as they win their first round on defense here. And now we get to see what else they're going to be able to present to us as they'll shift over towards a kitchen and dining room defense. 6 picks are coming out from both sides. The defensive one's quite interesting. We'll see Ella being brought to the table. On the attack, just going to do a quick switch of the IQ over to the Zofia.
I'm a huge fan of Ella in this area, especially like when people are trying to walk you back to site. Ella is just such an amazing operator because those Grismont's mines are so difficult to deal with. So we'll see how TSM wants to get around that. But that previous round is showing you that the drama is more than likely going to start very early inside of these rounds. SSG getting forceful with a lot of their things, Hotan getting some early damage that really assisted in SSG winning that round later. And that's one of those things where at the beginning of the round, you're like, oh, they got away with their lives, right? It's still a good thing because they're up, obviously, equal man count. It's 5-5. But when it's not necessarily the case, right? Once it goes later into that round and people have to start taking gunfights, it's just very, very risky. TSM can't get any of the gunfights to go their way inside of the bomb site. And let's be honest, if all of the gunfights have to be up against HotanCold for the rest of this, it might not go your way at all. He seems to really, really be playing up to snuff today.
Well, we'll see if TSM could change their fate. Like we've talked to death about here, TSM too has had a very fortunate start to this stage. That the halfway point are still looking incredibly strong, even with a recent loss being taken 8-7 last week against Mirage. They're still one of the favorite teams here at the top of our scoreboard for the season so far. Showing no signs of slowing down, but SSG may be the very thing that doesn't slow them down, but puts them to an outright stop. They're able to continue playing like we just saw in that previous round. Merc going to push past one of the Gashmot mines and work his way to the inside of Gaming Room pretty easily. The Ella going to be close by, though, right on the other side. Merc is trying to pre-fire, but he's got the wrong position right now, so not going to be able to lock onto any damage. Foltz will be aware of that, but locks onto the wrong target. The drone gets targeted by him instead of Merc, and as a result, he'll win that initial gunfight.
All right, so extended hold here from SSG. Multiple Grismont mines for Foltz to hold on to this area and know where people are hopping in on him, but not able to get away with anything there. Mostly just a drone, but not his life. Instead, Merc takes him down. They'll try and recoup something across the map, and it'll be HotanCold to take down Achieve. That's a big pick onto the sledge. It's going to make the verticality work just a little bit more difficult for TSM. It'll mostly be onto Merc now, but they don't even have control of this top level yet. Thinking Nate and Rampy still up here and locked in for the rest of this ride.
We're continuing to look for an opportunity to punish the office position currently being taken up. I believe that's going to be HotanCold trying to fight that out for the other side. Indeed it is. We'll get droned out. Packers will get confirmation once again of his position, and more importantly, the fact that he has not fallen back. And we'll create a small little peek hole to use just in case TSM tried to take a position by the window, but he's got a lot more pressing concerns to worry about now that he's lost his support wall. He does open up the side door here as well to possibly vie for an aggressive push if that's presented as an option. Not to mention the fact of him cutting rotates off from TSM if they try to jump out that way, but so far hasn't come up with much. The good news is he's still sitting here. He's still wasting the clock down away from TSM, so he's perfectly okay to waste this away until finally Merc commits the push. Yes, it's a very straightforward kill, but still he was able to bleed out that extra 30 seconds or so, and in the immediate current chain of events, that's what matters most. Bolo, though, gets another one, knocks out Bosco, and now things are looking rough for SSG here as TSM already has the downstairs control needed to push onto the site. They just have to do that. Dodge the shots from Thinking Nade, and they've got their plan opportunity. Pojo Man shouldn't get disrupted here. Rampy tries to get aggressive and is punished, and everything is now up to Thinking Nade in the 1v4. A good start, though, as he immediately makes it a 1v3, now a 1v2, as he takes the head off of Merc as well. Let's see if he can find these last two targets. Fortunately, not going to be the case. Bolo takes him down, and TSM take the round.
Well, Bolo is definitely fully awake right now, as simply the beret of Kaid peaks and immediately gets torn to pieces. Either way, though, TSM now 1-1 up against SSG. A pretty good defensive round overall by SSG. I like the initial game plan, but TSM simply just slicing it up, and then there's nothing really that SSG can do about it. They have some counterplay in play for it through the top floor. We saw Hotan trying to hold the angle for the bar door, while also having Grismont mines inside of games and on these other doors to try and make it to where Fultz can exist a little bit longer in there if there is some pressure coming through. But TSM's drone game is just too strong early on. A multitude of drones on him. Even in his dying frame, 2 drones still on him as he's trying to make it out of that area. And TSM simply forced their way across. And it was the drone game the entire time, simply slipping in drones in places that SSG simply could not find them and capitalizing off the info that they were getting. Exact same thing happening to HotanCold inside of Office.
So, the kitchen not going to favor our defenders too well. We'll see how the upstairs hold in the same area of the map over by that office and bedroom position. It's going to shape up for these players instead. Already quite a bit going out and about here for SSG. The emphasis, as usual, going to be against the Solarium push, though, as that's a very easy point of access for the attackers. We'll still see the play from Thinking Nade to play just outside of the library and stop that control. He won't be alone here either. More than likely going to get some form of support over towards Blue Stairs.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's more than likely going to be needed in that area as well. But going to have some change-ups now for SSG, going away from the Ella that we saw 6 pick the last time. This time around, Fultz going to be on the Vigil instead, and could definitely help him, especially when it comes to these drones. We just talked about how TSM are so very good at getting this information and trying to weed out this roam game from SSG, and that's exactly what they're trying to stop right now. Although Fultz doesn't necessarily have any synergized utility across the board that's going to assist him in that. No Mozzie, no Mute, just simply him and a gun trying to fight back against TSM on the south side.
It's caused a complete freeze for the attack here. Bolo tried to take a step forward, but paid the price for it as he loses about 1/3 of his HP. Not exactly sure where that came from. Looking like Fultz, by the way, he's been forced to rotate suddenly down into the basement, but check that one later on the VOD. Rampy will strike first, though, and it is not a lot of bullets to get the job done. You guys probably heard it. Just a quick 2-tap, it seems, and bye-bye to Bolo. One of the most impactful members of TSM now off the board. That's the Thatcher removed as well, so not going to be able to deal with the utility as easily as they would have been previously.
Yeah, slowed down now, but that doesn't mean that they're stuck at a halt. Still a lot of answers here, especially in the lineup that they're bringing. Although the Thatcher is not on the board, can still get through this with sheer willpower and a little bit of help from Chalet and those Sam cams. Thinking Nade, as well as another member of SSG in tow, being Rampy, trying to hold Achieved inside of Library, although they might not know that he's actually here. I'll have to update you on that later, as TSM still trying to grasp a hold of Blue Stairs overall, and obviously have to try and get around these SSG members, but they've actually vacated the area and worked over towards Office instead. This is such a fantastic game from SSG so far, especially inside of this round. They're practically just moving the cups while TSM try to find the ball.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mini game for them here right now as SSG continues to waste that time off the clock. Bit of a mixed record in terms of how well this has been working out, but inside of this round so far, it's worked beautifully. Here's going to be the problem, though. TSM now realize what's happening. They're on that final minute. This is when teams usually switch to a focus on the site, and TSM's going to be no different inside of this specific situation. So, hyper-focusing on the objective, where we've already seen them make progress just in that last round. They're going to try to do it once again, but it seems SSG are ready for the challenge this time. Achieve goes down. The advantage shifts even further out of the favor of TSM, and they're now stuck in a 3v5, trying to push past utility. You can see Thinking Nade has got to cross through the wall to punish that. He's going to get some decent damage over onto Merc as a result of that. And again, no challenge against this player right here. Thinking Nade, even with an opportunity to do it once again, it was a bit late on the shots. Either way, though, the time is being wasted. The first plant attempt is coming in now. Merc with a good lineup there. Has to get Fultz to run back at him again in order for it to fully be executed, but hey, it works. The problem, though, the entire execute has been completely shut down by SSG. Merc is now the only one left standing here in what was a 1v4, and although, yes, he gets a very nice kill, ultimately will still lose the round, whether it's due to him dying right there or the timer running out a couple seconds later.
Fantastic round there from SSG. I love that Hotan tried to kill Merc with the bailiff as well there right at the end. So, you know, kind of a callback to all of you watching old time Siege now. It feels like it's not that long ago for me, but for you guys, it's probably a long time ago at this point. Anytime I see a bailiff play like that, it always reminds me of Italy in 2019 when we went to Milan. So interesting stuff happening there for SSG. But the strategy definitely a lot more interesting than anything else. They put the Vigil across the map as kind of the cup game, like we were talking about, that you see on any busy, bustling streets inside of a city. And they simply just shift him across the map the entire time constantly turning on that backpack and turning it off. Yes, TSM eventually figured out, yeah, he's not in this area anymore. But by that time, the damage has already been dealt. He rotates downstairs as soon as Bolo gets picked off. The Thatcher's off the field. You have to try and find other means in order to get into the actual site. And honestly, that wasn't even the game plan overall for SSG. They still had members downstairs to be able to counter out any plant attempts with nitro cells. So it was just a very difficult thing for TSM from the jump, trying to get any read onto what was happening with that roam game, and then obviously going into the mid-game or mid-round time, just way too difficult for them to try and pick up the pieces.
Got a little update from the stats department on Mexico, and by the stats department, I mean Jesse. Apparently, if SSG win this game in regulation time, they will 100% be secured going through to the major.
Well, that's pretty interesting, and I'm happy that we have Jesse here to know that, because I definitely did not.
Yeah,
so that's
but it has to be important to note. It has to be regulation, so it has to be winning on 7. It can't be winning on winning in overtime.
All right, well, you heard him, hot and cold. It's only been 3 rounds, and you have 7 kills, so you better hurry up. If this is going to be, hey, guys, games done quick is
right now.
I'm not saying that, like, we're trying to promote anything here, but if you guys don't watch awesome games done quick, you need to, because it's speedrunning for charity, and I think that's what Hot and Cold's doing right now. So we'll see if he can continue it on throughout this and possibly find some more frags, but, that's neither here nor there. As of right now, we're about a minute, or actually about 45 seconds into this round here. TSM not doing too much as of right now, just simply hopping in on the north side. It's going to be Merc hopping in the bathroom window, and he's been taken down. No longer can Zofia res herself either, so he'll have to crawl to his teammate, who's waiting with open arms.
Is going to get revived. Surprisingly, SSG do not feel the need to get hyper-aggressive and push up to that in order to confirm the kill. The 20 HP revival is going to be enough of a win, ultimately. And it's probably a smart move when you see the large stack of TSM players that were over there. We saw SSG, I believe it was Fultz who picks up that kill right there, or near kill, pushes forward, and obviously gets a little bit too close for comfort in that situation. It's very easy for him to get traded and that advantage to go away. So makes the smart choice there and does not confirm the kill. Plays out the time and the health advantage, which probably will end up working out, but we'll have to wait and see. TSM still looking to turn this back around at the full strength of their 5-man player count. Now time to see if they can work their way into SSG territory. They really started to run into issues in the past working forward through these setups like what we have right now for Thinking Day. But the actual utility's been dealt with. That doesn't mean the kills are happening, though. Rampy still first to strike for SSG as he takes out Bolo yet again.
And you can see why these defenses are so strong for both of these squads. SSG with a defensive showcase so far inside of this round, and TSM really not having any answer for it. Trying to use the EMPs to counter out the laser gates, but they're continually turned back on as TSM actually can't force their way into the library area, and that's exactly what they need to get done. They're continuing to burn utility to try and get rid of deployable shields and everything else, but SSG are simply waiting and sitting on their hands. There's not much more for them to necessarily do. It's TSM that needs to try and push through this, not the other way around. And now that it's down to 30 seconds, this is looking very dire. These frags have to come through in a massive drove for the offense.
Bosco will even get himself a Frost Mat kill in the process of this chaos. 1-to-1 exchange besides that, but SSG are quickly taking over. Bosco with a second. Another one picked up, I believe, by Rampy also there, or excuse me, not Rampy there. Or yeah, no, Rampy going down there. Just the new UI tripping me up. So I was looking at Thinking Nade for a sec. But Merc going to be alone here in the 1v4. 5 seconds left. So you folks already know this one's going to play out more than likely. And if you don't, well, here's your answer. Round ends on the timer, and SSG pick it up yet again, leading 3-1 versus TSM.
Well, it's going to be a TSM timeout, and, well, I could have told you that one was coming, because these offenses are not going very well for TSM, especially these last two. It really seems like these early picks happening to TSM are hindering them, and you can't necessarily blame them as, well, the early picks have been onto Bolo, John, and not only is it Bolo, but it's also Thatcher, one of the operators that makes things so very easy when trying to clear through utility, trying to get walls open, and everything else in between. Not having him on the board is definitely slowing down TSM on these offenses, but it doesn't seem like they can necessarily slow down the early picks either, as it's SSG getting forceful. Bolo didn't just randomly hop inside of the library window. He ended up getting picked off. So it's difficult for TSM right now as they cannot find these opening frags, and when they did, they actually ended up winning their singular round.
Yeah, this is a big issue for TSM because traditionally, looking at the matches that they played prior to this, this is usually not an area where they've struggled with. They've had fantastic control over the early round in the past matches. They've shown no problems whatsoever with dealing with usually like these opening aggressive picks and whatnot, but suddenly...
Oh my.
What's going on?
So their opening kill per round, like percentage-wise, like when they get it, 38%. Do you want to know their win rate when they do get it?
What is that?
90.
Oh my goodness.
So
yeah.
that's the difference right there, my friend.
So it seems SSG has locked onto
dude.
that. And
Even worse, 41% death for opening, right? And their win rate in that, 35%.
poof.
Yes. So I think we found the root of the issue, Mr.
Yeah.
Blue.
So this would explain why SSG is playing like so incredibly passive, at least from a first glance anyway, save for maybe those 1 to 2 players that are looking for that opening pick, because so far they've been getting it pretty consistently. And as soon as they grab that pick, like you mentioned, I think towards the end of the last round there, they don't really need to do anything from that point forward. They can just sit in these default anchor positions and play out the rest of the round on time alone, and will pretty much be in a comfortable position on almost every single site as a result of getting that opening pick. So TSM needs to figure out a solution to this quickly, otherwise SSG seems to have their number.
It's just such a strange thing when it comes to, Siege. Like, you can legitimately just, like, pop one person on the offense and be like, yeah, we're just going to sit here for the entirety of the round.
I mean, to be fair,
it doesn't matter.
Like, it's probably not a good idea to go, like crazy Roman with 3 to 4 players against TSM. They're more likely going to catch that with the way they've been playing over the past couple weeks. So
no, SSG are not out mechanically skilling TSM. They are out strategizing TSM. That's what's happening right now. Absolutely.
Trying to see if they can do this once again. No major change-ups in the overall setup. Still going to be a heavy emphasis on both library and the blue stair area, as well as games, of course, just below that for SSG in their early defense. Is TSM going to take the bait again and clear it out, though, as this is usually a pretty strong staging point for the attack to use. But with such a heavy amount of the defense here, it might be too much for them to try and clear out, given the time that they have to work with inside of this round and the struggles they've had in this department over the past couple that have been played out already.
Well, back to the SSG kitchen setup that we saw previously, where Fultz was on Ella, and he'll be there yet again, but this time he's not holding things down inside of Bar, and I can't blame him, because the last time that we saw that go down, it was just a quick crossfire, and was not able to get away from the TSM members. They've already tried to clear out the Gruzmots that are close, at least the one that he set up on the game's window prior, but this time he's playing in a lot safer area with a lot more hard walls around him, so he cannot simply get shot through them. So a lot smarter adjustment here for SSG, and they're going to have the lead off pick again, John. And not only that, but it's on the best player in the league right now, who's not even looking like the same human. 0-4 for Chalet right now.
Almost feel like we jinxed it a little bit there, talking about its consistency earlier on. So far, have not been able to see that, but again, not entirely his own fault. SSG have been playing an incredibly frustrating defense to try and work past here, and for them, it's been working beautifully. Minute and 20, once again, TSM trying to get this the initial control they need in order to shift downstairs and over towards the site take. There's still upstairs presence by Office and Master that SSG haven't cleared out, and it is actively growing. Rampy, for instance, just rotated up here. Hotan with the capability to run out onto the balcony and get aggressive against the upstairs hold. In fact, looks like he might be able to get the pick onto Achieved, and there it is. Hotan takes him into a downstate, quickly finishes it off as he knows teammates aren't nearby. Numbers continue to shrink for TSM, and SSG looking better and better to try and claim a fourth.
If you're TSM, you just have got to be frustrated right now. This is so very difficult for them to try and work with, unless your name is Pojo, man. Come off the bench and start fragging, my friend. The coach is in session, and he's coaching the other team at this point. HotanCold, not worried about his door. He takes down Nate as well in the process right before that. So now a 3v3, and one that they desperately needed at this time. SSG already trying to get past the tie point here inside of this first half. They'll already have 4 rounds if they're able to secure this. So obviously TSM trying to slow them down by any means necessary. Poj will get top hatch control though, as he'll pop that open. Fultz with a nice flank, he'll take down Polo, but now Poj with a triple kill, the Fragmite coming into the works, as Merc actually getting aggressive down through Solarium. We'll have a drop in from Pojo inside of the kitchen. Fultz in from behind, that Scorpion spraying wide though, as Merc will take down yet another. It's a 1v2, make it a 1v1, and wrap it up with a bow, because that Scorpion is so damn mean, and he doesn't have enough time to get away from that case plant. It's Fultz wrapping it up with a beautiful bow for SSG.
What an incredible play from Fultz right there. Not to mention just the positioning mastery with which he played out the actual 1v2 at the end there with so careful. He knew he had already given himself away in a previous fight, so he had to be so cautious with every step he took, but still plays it out perfectly, is able to outdodge the Yana, and then obviously closing out that final 1v1 is a pretty easy affair, but beautifully done once again to really secure the advantage for SSG going into that final round of the half with a 4-1 lead.
Well, amazing stuff for SSG right now, but for TSM, they just simply can't find the frags. There's no answers to the setups from SSG. It just seems like SSG is constantly 3 moves ahead of TSM. They're trying to check for the things that SSG have done in the past, but that's no longer where the goalposts are. They've been pushed all the way across the map, or even just slight, little change-ups with positioning, like for Fultz, no longer playing inside of games. And, to the common eye, that might not seem like that big of a deal. Yeah, maybe you can just play on the other side of the bar, they can't shoot through the bar, Stokes. Well, if he plays around the staircase instead, he's got a lot more rotation options instead of just being stuck on that one floor, and that's exactly what he does. He continues to main the blue stairs area and then rotates downstairs to get to other areas of the map and hold things down for SSG across the entirety of the area. And not only that, but he comes in when things matter most and finds that frag on flank and ends up winning the entire round for Spacestation overall. So what a round from him, and it's all about those little things just giving you different options inside of the round.
Negates what would have been a very impressive round from Pojo, man, too. Definitely still have to give him the gold star for picking up those 3 kills on the inside of the last round, especially with the 2-kill push he made into Office from the balcony. Don't even know how that one got started, but that nearly allowed for TSM to win that round when it seemed like they were already in a losing position up until that point. Unfortunately, didn't rely on the clutch, however, to come out from the last member of SSG. Inside of round 6 here, though, it's no surprise that things are very quiet once again. TSM knows how SSG wants to play this game at this point, and they're not going to bite into that. They want to take the advantage early on here, and in order to do that, they've got to hunt someone down. The target right now will be the player in Kitchen, but it's going to be tough to force that one out.
Well, TSM not hopping in the building just yet. As we've been talking about, can't necessarily blame them for these actions, as SSG have continually been able to find these opening frags and keep TSM outside, starve them of information, and just make the offense overall a very difficult thing for them to try and get around. Continuing to damage this drone economy. Not too much of a blow yet, only losing 3 drones, but definitely still have some other things to be able to get rid of. And, well, it starts off with 2 big opening kills, 3 big opening kills for TSM. They hop inside of all of the windows, taking down people in every single corner of Chalet, and I believe this is going to be soon an open bomb site for TSM, but actually, in fact, it's upstairs this time around for TSM. A little worried there as to where this was going for SSG, but it's the master hold right now. But even with that being said, there's not really much they can do. They're trying to hold on to the bathroom up top, and, well, a box goes unchecked, and it happens to be Merc on the balcony. He'll take down 2 from this exact window that Rampy is staring at, but it's a 1v5 for him. Very low mag capacity Roni with 2 targets inside of Solarium. He'll get the first. Can he get the second? He'll get the down and the confirm, but now very low HP. The drone out, and Merc is just simply working this balcony, folks. That's going to be 3 frags simply walking back and forth across this area.
A promising start looked to be in the cards yet again for SSG, but the hand of fate decided otherwise there. Bolo being saved by a split-second pick on the push coming into Office right there, and it hit domino affected incredibly well from that point forward for TSM. That's the TSM that we were seeing in the earlier Playdays, 7-0ing 2 teams in a row right there, just running an incredibly strategical execute, not giving SSG any time whatsoever to respond. So that's definitely going to be a confidence booster for TSM, jumping off of that last half and now onto the defense for first time. At least they know they ended the attacking half in a solid way. Now time to bring things back on the defense.
Yeah, it really seems like TSM finally found their stride inside of that round, but it was kind of just by, devised plan. They're able to just steamroll through that. The kills come through in not really unison, but just in tandem, back to back to back, and really just hopping inside of these windows. The big ones obviously being from Merc up top. He simply finds Thinking Nate, or excuse me, HotanCold actually, staring down through some vertical angles and not really caring about what's going on around him, especially when it comes to the balcony. So TSM getting away with a lot of frags there, but just some big ones, especially the one coming through from downstairs. A pretty hard contention hopping in through the trophy window, but still able to get it done.
Time to see now with the sides flipped if SSG can keep their own strength consistent, or if TSM in that last round was just an indication of what they're going to be bringing us on their own defensive half here. We'll be seeing that room game start to spread out quite a bit. The Clash, of course, will just be getting ready for the push come her direction over the next few moments. But it seems as though SSG are going to favor going for the Solarium route compared to the library push we were commonly seeing out of TSM in the last half. That'll play pretty well into Pojo Man, obviously, as the Clash sitting right here is going to be pretty annoying for SSG to deal with, and that's an understatement.
Yeah, absolutely. And another update about these sides as well, it seems that the defensive win rate is struck gold for SSG as they hit it right on the marker, 60% win rate on their defensive side. We'll see if TSM can follow through on their side. As you said, some new pieces, some new tools or toys, whatever you want to call them, in for the defensive side of TSM. The Frost Mats as well as Poj on this Clash, manning the window. And, well, it's not going to work out for him. The grenade there, folks, actually ends up bouncing down the stairwell and goes up under his shield and takes him down because of it. So poor choices there, Poj, and honestly can't necessarily blame him for that overall. But either way, SSG now with an opening frag that they're more than likely to procure when the time comes as Merc starts pushing up closer to Solarium to try and help contest.
Yeah, Merc's not fully dead yet, but just as I say that, I jinxed it again. HotanCold immediately takes him down. Merc here as well, trying to come in to save the day, but ultimately is just going to become another victim from the same exact spot. Hotan takes him out of the party as well. Just like that, we're down to another 5v3 faults. It is just clinical right now for SSG. These are one taps left and right. Achieved has fallen as well. We can't even follow it. It's all happening so quickly. Bolo as well up against the world. Sneaks off a kill versus Thinking Nade, but Hotan's got the pre-fire to add one more to his counter before the end of the round shows us one more up on the board for SSG.
That's a quad kill for HotanCold, by the way, as well. So, man, SSG are just so very dominant right now. This team they look undefeatable when it comes down to it. These rounds that TSM have been able to find have just went very well in their way. And honestly, to me, it seems like mistakes happening from SSG. The previous round, not so much, but you could definitely say it was quite a mistake from HotanCold not worrying about the balcony. But that's besides the point. What really matters is that SSG is continually opening up these rounds in very convincing fashion, taking down TSM members left and right and making it to where they're usually inside of a 5v3. And that's extremely difficult to battle back from. Even inside of the round where we saw them successfully equalize the man advantage, they still weren't able to do it, and now they're having the same issues on their defense.
So another site going to be showing up here for TSM as they're going to shift down into the bar this time around and see if this will serve them better. Generally, this has been a pretty solid site for their own defense. And at the same time, guys, we do want to one more time call out the very nice Mozzie set that's now available in-game for your TSM fans out there, or even just people that like the aesthetics of the TSM brand. Go ahead and check it out. You can pick up the skins, both the gun skin as well as the operator skin, and the charm as well, available now in the Rainbow Six store, along with all the other great Rainbow Six share skins you've been checking out today.
John, usually when we have these little reads, I always try to pick a skin that is one of my favorites, but I gotta tell you, as somebody that just loves dragons, I love TSM stuff. I mean, especially the Roni, or not the Roni skin, but their Commando skin, I think is absolutely beautiful, especially with what Ubisoft did recently with their skins overall, making it to where you can make 3D skins, and, that makes it to where they can do little stuff like TSM engraving the gun. So, pretty cool things. Make sure to go check all of those skins out, regardless of the team, inside of the esports shop right inside of Rainbow Six Siege today. Anyways, round 8 now here as SSG are trying to find map and match point here. Try and get us up onto that, or at least get us up into where they can actually secure the win for their next round. Currently 5-2. Let's make sure that those of you listening to audio, although I know it's a very small margin, know exactly what is going on currently. And what's going on currently is Merc getting droned out up top. He'll be able to get one, possibly two of those drones with his pests, but besides that, this is a full clear out top from SSG. They'll be able to get away with it as TSM simply hold on to this bottom floor.
Minute into the round, once again, not a whole lot of actual action transpiring, but we do have the team starting to dance around each other. TSM and SSG slowly beginning to take control away from each other in order to try and vie for early map contention, and at least in TSM's case, try to pick up that opening kill for themselves. They succeeded in it this time. Achieved is going to be able to line up a Nitro Cell pick. That's going to take out Thinking Nade, as well as the Hard Breach on the attack. Not necessarily going to be needed for outright victory on this round, so SSG can still get away with it, but the loss of that utility is still going to hurt in the long run here, especially with 1 minute and 20 seconds left. They definitely had the excess time to use it if she was still alive. HotanCold nearly dying to another Nitro Cell that was chucked out about 10 seconds ago too. He's going to be down at very low HP also.
Well, SSJ stuck between a rock and a hard place as of right now. They'll be able to clear out the top floor finally, as they were holding onto blue as well as the library hallway, but Poge still here behind the Goyo shield. He'll get taken down as well, and oh no, it's happening all over again, folks. TSM, they get the leadoff pick onto Thinking Nade, but now they're falling apart at the seams. It's 4 frags back to back to back inside of these last 15 seconds. All of a sudden it boils down to Merc in a 1v4, and he no longer even has a Nitro Cell to try and combat with, and they know exactly where he is, as the proximity of the concussion will go off and read him out. He won't get hit by the concussion, but it's just enough for Fultz, his duo, to know exactly where he is, and he'll take down his friend inside of games.
SSG executing in an incredibly prominent way, and this is without a real execute ever seeming to show up from the past couple of rounds we've seen played out. They're just forcing members of TSM out into the open, or at least baiting them to do so, and cutting them off one by one. That last round being an excellent example of a near domino effect that happened. 2 players go down. Achieve tries to get a little more aggressive in the site in order to make up the difference, as he had spotted one of the SSG members. Ultimately, he peeks a bit too far and goes right up on top of a top-down angle where one of the members of SSG was now waiting. That player goes down, and again, it just, like I said, continues to unfold from that point forward. It's an ugly round, unfortunately, for TSM, despite their efforts to move into it, and now it puts SSG up on that point.
SSG is just out here with the tape measures today. That's the biggest thing, is all of this just seems like it's meant to be happening, right? It's very consecutive planning where these frags are coming in like a domino effect, like you're saying, where this piece of the map is finally in SSG's control, which means they can do X, Y, and Z, and they achieve all of that within the next handful of seconds. It is very, very well done. And honestly, I'm going to love going back through this one inside of our recent change-up for these, where we actually get to go back through the VODs inside of the game and see exactly what these players are doing, because this map overall has just been electric so far for SSG, and it makes, especially from a TSM roster that we know has been very, very good throughout the stage so far, it's just making them seem like not even the same team.
All right, well, let's see if TSM can hold together. They suffer nearly the same fate as the losing team from our last matchup too. They now need to run 4 rounds consecutively, and that's just to trigger overtime. They'll need to pick up 2 rounds past that as well if they want the outright win. Remember what we talked about before, SSG winning in regulation, which we're in that right now in case you're curious, means that they have a punched ticket going to the major, and they are just that 1 round away from indeed getting the punch hole in the ticket. Rampy starts us off with a pick against Chalet, but not before TSM as well have picked up 1 and now 2 kills on their own regard. Pojo Man most recently knocking out Rampy puts us down into a 4v3, and it looks like Bolo wants to get a tad more aggressive. We could be seeing a 4v2 if his aggression leads to success against Fultz, who's now seemingly stuck here in the lower levels of the map. And hold on, once again, a turnaround is in the cards for SSG. 2 off-screen kills from them, and the advantage no longer favors the defense. Achieved, though, with a very important kill to equalize things yet again as he takes out Bosco. Not going to be able to stop the plant, though, as the diffuser is going down.
I'm so impressed with what SSG was just able to pull off there. Frag grenade comes in, takes out Bolo on the flank. SSG just get enough control of Kitchen to get the bomb actually down. Now it's up to HotanCold, 15-4-4 right now, up against TSM in a 1v2. They don't know where he is, but they do now. The L85 in hand. I don't believe he heard the drop to his left either. Still trying to contest the man with the Roni Achieved as he's bouncing back and forth. Knows one's still here. He'll burn Pojo Man alive. The SMG-11 to get it done. Oh, HotanCold for 17 as he puts TSM in a body bag. Just send him down the river.
What a lights out match coming in from SSG. The entire roster performing amazingly well inside of this matchup, but you've got to give it to the man, the myth, the legend. It's HotanCold continuing to improve his prowess inside of the region and looking more and more like truly the MVP of NA.
That is just such an insane score line for me. I mean, you can take Poj, Bolo, Achieved, and Chala, slap them together, and they don't even have as many kills as that man does. That's some extremely, extremely impressive play, and he's doing it from every single position he possibly can. Holding down people over the bomb, getting those entry frags, frag grenades. There's not a single thing that this man cannot achieve, and with SSG around him, it just looks like they can't be defeated right now. Ever since we saw those earlier losses inside of this stage, it just seems like they finally found their stride and they're really starting to understand each other on that synergy level.
Yeah, like we said, definitely a few bumpy bits at the beginning of the season, but they have come back with a vengeance, taking down a team that, like we said just a couple of weeks ago, got 2 consecutive 7-0 victories against other teams in this league. TSM were no slouches there. They still brought their heart, but were getting hard countered, it seemed, on every single turn by SSG. An amazingly impressive performance, and now that's going to punch their ticket to the major for sure, based on the statistical information that we do have. That's going to do it for myself and Stokes here today. I'll be rejoining you guys next week once again, but we've got Veli as well as our analysts to break things down one final time.
If you would have brought me back 2 weeks ago and told me about this matchup, I wouldn't have guessed that Spacestation Gaming were going to be the team that blew out TSM. TSM wound up losing here on Chalet, and SSG are just looking stronger than ever, fellas.
This stage is the one of surprising results wholeheartedly. Not just the 2 7-0s from TSM, but the dominant showing that SSG have shown all 3 times they've been on Chalet. They're going on a trip in their favorite rocket ship, and its destination in August is Mexico. Congratulations to Space Station. We're going to see you in a couple weeks now.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done for the entire rest of the stage. As far as I'm on the desk, I'm never not picking SSG ever again. They don't lose. That's just what I've learned today. It doesn't matter if they're against the best team. Doesn't matter if it's everything on the line. They are the best team, and they're going to take whatever's on the line. Well done to Space Station Gaming. Absolutely running a clinic on TSM and looking so good while doing it.
Jesse, what do we say? TSM, they were winning games 7-3, 7-0, 7-0.
Back
And
in
we're
the
like,
day.
who's going to beat them, right? But ever since SSG lost against Dark Zero on the 16th of last month, they've gone about, what, 28-6. 28-6. That is insane. Space Station Gaming are looking just absolutely unbeatable. But let's go ahead and break down this game. And Jesse, we're going to keep beating this horse with, whatever we got in the back, Their opening pick on Space Station's side is terrifying. And to be able to do that against a team like TSM, come on, man, this is unfair.
I mean, it's time after time after time, and you saw it particularly in that first half where they got, I believe, the last 4 defending opening picks, and they rolled it right into their first opening pick on their attacking half as well. They just don't miss with these, and it's so cool because it's like, sure, on attack, they're doing all this drone work, they're getting that information, but on defense, they don't really have that. So what they do is they play kind of safe, they play kind of passive, and they get that open pick, and they'll just run away. It's so difficult for a team like TSM, or any team in the league, to capitalize off of, or to try to trade one of those opening picks, right? Usually to get that first kill, you've got to extend yourself a little bit, you got to take a bit of a risk, especially on defense, but SSG never do that, and TSM struggled really hard trading one of those opening picks. Every time it was a clean pick that Space Station were able to get, and it always converted that into rounds. And compare that with what TSM were doing, and very often it'd be a kill, right, immediately answer back with a trade. I think you saw that in the last couple of rounds, and even in that second round where they had it. So really impressed by SSG. Again, we're going to keep talking about their opening pick because it's so good, but yeah, reflected again here in this game.
Well, it's time to have an interview with the guy who put just a bow on top. He did cherry on top. He wrapped the bow, whatever you want to call it. HotanCold, get him up on the screen, production, please. Let me talk to my boy Matt. Matt, listen, 4th of July was good seeing you. Listen, when I hugged you, I felt something special coming up today. At what point did you feel unstoppable here on Chalet?
I mean, I feel like in matches, like, is where we really shine on Chalet. Scrims, we've always been really good at Chalet, but in matches, I think we just change what we do more often than, and it's just been working. If I call the weirdest thing known to mankind, the whole team listens to it, and usually it works. It's a great feeling.
So, take me down to the strategic part of this, right? What worked so well for you guys? Was there a specific opening that you all just steadily attacked, or was everything just on point, just strategically?
TSM has always been a team that doesn't really change, too much of their strategies. So it's always pretty easy to, know what you're playing against. They'll usually have like Merc or, when Geo's on the team, Geo like, call out of the adaptations. So I don't think they can really do that without Geo as much. And it was just, the game was very like plain and simple. We stick to our game plan and we get it done.
Well, you guys probably expedited that whole Geo thing. I saw him walk through the door on stream the other day at TSM's house. But now Spacestation gaming, you guys are looking dominant. I believe you guys are 28-6 between the last 4 games. That's insane. What was the hardest part about getting to this point to where you guys finally felt like, okay, this finally works now?
Well, the first couple of weeks of the team were a little rough, not too rough, but a little rough. We had to dry run all 7 maps within like 3 days to even, start scrims. So that was a lot. It was a struggle.
That's
and then,
crazy.
Right as like all the players got back from their vacation after invite, Thinking Nate was like, I don't want to play flank watch anymore. So we had to get over that hurdle, but I think like the team is, obviously like looking really good and I'm loving it.
Now, you're looking even better than good. You're looking gooder than that, right? 17 kills, 4 deaths, 89% cost, man. When I came into the league, you were a hard breach player. What really pushed you to just say, you know what? I don't just open walls. I open up L's for every team that we go against, man. Like, what flipped in your head to like bring out the beast, basically?
I really don't know if like anything ever flipped. It's just like, I used to be entry fragger and, a roamer back in the day for basically the first 3 years of my career. And then I slowly went to hard breach because I was a little older than, the rookies coming in. And obviously I personally don't think I have the best aim. So like, why not put the best aimers on the entries? And I don't know. I just found my groove. I'm in it.
Well, listen, you're definitely in it. You're winning it. You and your team. The Space Boys go out, celebrate tonight. That was a really big win. And next time we see you guys, you're going against XSET. You're going to need a lot of luck for that. So make sure you steady up. Other than that, it's great talking to you again. Thanks for taking time out of your day. And I hope you have a great night. All right,
Thank
man?
you, Billy. You too, Billy.
No problem. Take it easy, man. All right. All right, back on the desk. I'm gonna let you guys know now. Space Station's success it shows in person. Their chemistry, you can see that the team gets along and it is working out extremely well. But is there anything that you guys picked up from that interview that you want to touch on?
Humble as ever, right? Matt HotanCold saying it like it is. He's the old guy. That's why he moved off of the entry.
Look at the stats.
Yeah, you're never
man.
too old to frag. I think that's what we're seeing from HotanCold. 17-4. Like, shut up. Stop playing so well.
Jacob, how you feeling about it all?
Pretty damn good. I love that we're seeing a side of Space Station show up that has been kind of dormant for a while. They have a new spring in their step, a new confidence that wasn't there for stage 1 for very obvious reasons. And it's great that they've put all of their efforts and focus behind the new guy to their team. It's not to say that HotanCold couldn't do this. It's just that, like he mentioned, he was, the older guy and the newer blood was kind of like surpassing him in a way. This is not only his rebound tour, his revenge opportunity against the rest of North America. He could very well be helping to turn SSG back into a world championship caliber team. I'm not kidding, dude. They're getting to that point again.
Well, to be completely honest, SSG, they were, a wrench was thrown into their plans with Canadian retiring last second. We knew what the boys are capable of. Rampy, Fos, Thinking everyone, Bosco, they popped off. It just happened that they were playing with Luke. Shout out to Luke, by the way. I miss him playing. But they're incredible. 17-4? Insane.
Yeah.
But the community poll question is going to come up on your screen shortly. But wow. Hold on 1 second. I accidentally minimized it. I'm sorry about
Good
that,
job.
Jasmine.
Done.
Yes, sorry. But coming up right now, SSG, Jesse, do you think that they are definitely the team to beat here?
Yeah, for sure. I'd call them the best team in North America right now. I think previously, in my mind, TSM held that title due to their play at the Invitational, and then further, solidified based on how they played for the first couple of play days here in the NAL. But you can't argue with the results. A 7, what was that, 7-3, 7-2? Like, that's
Yeah.
insane. Space Station Gaming, the best team in North America at the moment. They're going to the Mexico Major. They're going to be the team to beat out of all the NA teams. And it'll be really exciting to see how they do against international competition as well.
Yeah, right. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the MVP for a second. And throughout the entirety of the day, is it that obvious
Stop.
it's going to be HotanCold?
Yeah, of course.
Is it that obvious?
Who else will drop 17 in 9 rounds? Who will
The
do
hard
that?
breach from Dark Zero that they let go is going to
Yeah,
do it. All right.
of
There you
course.
go.
Production. This is just a shot in the dark. Is it HotanCold?
There
What
it
a
is.
shock. Hot
Wild
cold.
guess. Wild guess.
He wasted no
But-
time either, dude. Like, he had a 3K in that first round as
Yep.
Mozzie waiting for people to
4K.
approach site, and a 4K, my bad, and he ends it with a wonderful 2-piece with the SMG-11. That is disgusting.
I think the funniest part was he couldn't hit the shot with his main rifle.
Yeah.
So he put the L85 away and said, "Let me bring out the pea shooter
Yeah.
that a lot of people can't aim with," and dominated. That fast rate of fire definitely helped him out. Once again, 17-4
Yeah.
against. I mean, this isn't against the Squiggly Wigglies. This is against TSM. This is a big deal. But let's talk about the standings after what happened today. I believe at the beginning of the day, there was TSM and Space Station Gaming up top. You had Beast Coast and XSET bottom. Everyone's bunched up in the middle. And it's going to be still about the same with Sonics moving up to top 3 with their win today. Other than that, Disrupt Gaming moved up. Oxygen is now in the bottom 3 after being first place stage 1. And Jesse, when it comes to competition here in the NAL, man, what's the best way to define it?
It's close. It's tense. It's insane. I mean, SSG locking down Mexico, now locking down the major after that win. Notably also, Beast Coast mathematically eliminated. They only have 2 more Playdays, which means they cannot possibly get enough points. Their maximum point total is 8. That wouldn't get them to top 4, even if Mirage and everybody lost all their previous or future games. So Beast Coast eliminated, SSG lock it down. I think for my money, TSM, and well, TSM's not even really a lock anymore. I thought they were. But at this point, like, it's getting kind of tight. Honestly, that 2nd, 3rd, and 4th spot is really up in the air between almost every other team in this league.
There's 3 more games left.
Yeah.
And teams like Oxygen and Disrupt Gaming can still leapfrog ahead to get into a very comfortable, pretty position.
Teams like
especially when
XSET
it comes
also
to the
could.
major.
Yeah.
All right. Calm down.
They
I'm
play
just saying.
TSM and Space
Actually,
Station.
no. You know
but-
what? We give XSET their respect now. They definitely
True.
deserve
Yes,
to
sir.
shout out to Jarvis. It's Beast Coast. We're looking at you now. All right. I can't talk too bad about them because they take me to the shooting range, and that's scary. But fellas, to close out the day, anything you guys want to get off your chest?
Jacob, anything?
For me, I am a little disappointed in TSM now. I think after that game, there definitely is more cause for concern. Hopefully, in this next week, this next Playday, they'll have a bit of an easier go. It's against XSET, which I'm no longer going to call a very easy win for TSM. I think XSET is on the upswing, and TSM is doing the inverse of that. So the games that are on deck for the next 3 weeks, they're going to be so crucial, Veli. If anyone loses, that could be your chances of making Mexico City out the window, just like that.
That's the goal in life. Just don't be a loser. You go to Mexico.
Thank-
You go on vacation to
There you
nice
go.
exotic places. By the way, for those of you that have never been to Mexico before, best tacos hands down.
I
America,
haven't.
like America has good Mexican food, but man, the Al Pastor, it doesn't compare. But these are the matches for the 14th. First game of the day is gonna be Mirage versus Sonics. Something's telling me that game is gonna be way more. I mean, we expect it to be good, but it's gonna be way better than that. Both of these teams are really gunning for a top spot, and they're progressing on a really rapid pace. So that's gonna be it. Can't wait to see you guys next week. Don't forget, same place, same time. Other than that, it's been fun to get on the desk. We've had great games all around the first series, especially that finish by HotanCold to beat TSM. Wow. So with that being said, top dogs they're definitely showing that they could bleed, and other than that, you got teams like XF finally starting to get wins. So shout out to all of the competitors today, and can't wait to see what happens next week. And we'll see you guys next time for more Rainbow Six Siege.